So, random thought before we start today's devotional video. I've been drinking a lot of sparkling water the last couple years, and there's several varieties, different brands and flavors out there. Right now I'm trying a new one called the Bubbly Mango Bubbly. Not my favorite. I have found that I prefer the grapefruit flavored ones are my favorite so far. And some of them are okay and most of them are kind of terrible, but I do enjoy the grapefruit ones. I'm curious, do you like these? And if you do, what's your flavor? Because I wouldn't mind trying a new one. So you can comment below if you drink that kind of thing. I was listening to a radio program, and I shared this thought a couple Sundays ago, but I wanted to elaborate on it just a bit. I was in the vehicle, got into church, and it's one of those programs that just kind of had me engaged, so I couldn't get out of the vehicle until I heard the rest of the story. But this gentleman was talking about a part of his testimony as he's being interviewed. And he had been in ministry for 15 plus years, married to his wife and had 2 kids with him, and they were just Bible-believing Christians. And he had talked about a couple years ago how when he had tragically lost his wife almost overnight, and just how much that rocked his world. He's like, it was the most tragic day of my entire life. But as I stopped and thought about it, it was the most glorious day of her own. And I thought, wow, that's a faith. That is a faith. Somebody that can go through that kind of adversity right there and step back from the equation and say, you know what, it's the worst day of my life, but it's the best day of hers. And it's one of the more compelling reasons I've heard probably in the last few months of a pretty legitimate reason to put your faith and trust into Jesus, because there was purpose. There was purpose in what happened, and you could see that, it wasn't all tragedy, it wasn't all bad. Somehow Christ took something terrible, something that should have been just nothing but tragedy, and that's it, but he turned it for his own glory and says, you know what, she's with me now. She's better off, and you'll get to see her again someday. It's good news. It's good news, and that's the message of Christ. Message of Christ is good news. Maybe you've forgotten that. When I hear a story about that, I'm reminded of it. And it's like, yeah, there's a reason I'm doing this. I'm not going to know the answer to every single tragedy that happens in this life and be able to see purpose behind it. But man, I've seen a lot of tragedy in my own life. And as I think back on it, yeah, good things came out of that. Now that doesn't lessen the fact that it was bad and it hurt and it was hard, but a lot of the times I can see that good did come out of it. Just during this recent pandemic, there's been a lot of bad that came out of the pandemic, but there's been a lot of good too. I've seen people put a lot more high value on spending time with their families. That's a good thing. In my mind, I guess tragedy should be tragic. That's it. Tragedy should beget more tragedy. The fact that Christ is able to take tragedy and pull good out of it, I think we're witnessing miracles, and we're too dense to even see it or call it for what it is. I mean, that's just me. Tragedy should beget more tragedy. Good things should not come out of that, yet somehow God for his own glory can do that. I know that there's going to be tragedies in my life that I'm not going to understand. And there's probably tragedies maybe in your own life that you don't quite understand what the higher purpose for it is. But I got to tell you, there is a higher purpose for it, and God can take whatever tragedy that happened and he can use it for his own glory. And I got to tell you, life is better with him than without him. So let that serve as a reminder. If you don't know him yet, it's time to meet him, and if you've forgotten who he is, it's time to reintroduce yourself. Guys, we love you, and we'll see you on the next video.